What bookkeeping do you need to do as a self-employed person? Now, as I mentioned on previous episodes, the only admin for HMRC that you need to do as a self-employed person is complete your self-assessment tax return. So at the moment, that is just one form once a year. So if you were to say to me, the only bookkeeping I ever want to do is bare minimum once a year for HMRC, that is all you need to do. And you do not need software in order to do this. It can be on Excel. It can also be if, when you're opening your new bank account, you choose one of the challenger banks. That could be something like Starling or Monzo or Tide. Those give you the options to allocate your payments to a category. So it's kind of bare minimum bookkeeping. And both of these are absolutely fine to do. It won't give you any reports during the year, so you won't be able to see where your money is going, you know, how well each sort of particular income stream is doing if you've got different types of clients. But it will enable you to do that kind of bare minimum once a year bookkeeping, which you can then use to complete your tax return or forward on to your accountant for them to complete your tax return for you. But maybe you don't want to do the bare minimum. Maybe you are someone who, you know, you would like some software so you can kind of keep an idea of where your money is going. So pretty low level. You don't need software to raise invoices. You're not interested in sort of tracking what clients owe you, that kind of stuff. But as the year progresses, you'd like to know where your money's going and maybe even get a rough tax estimate as well. You can start looking at software such as QuickBooks Self-Employed, or bank accounts such as Starling have a business toolkit, which is some like a bolt-on bookkeeping option to their software. So both of these are quite good if you don't want any kind of in-depth analysis, but you would like to do a little bit of bookkeeping on a monthly basis, and you would like to keep an idea of where your money is going. Then the next option is if you actually want to do your bookkeeping more often. You are more interested in looking at where your money is going in sort of a little bit more detail, looking at where your money is coming from, maybe keep an eye on, you know, how quick some of your clients, or slow, should I say, at paying you, who owes you money. You want to raise sales invoices, you know, you want a far more complete accounts package, and you're going to invest in your bookkeeping on an ongoing basis. And that is when I would recommend looking at software such as Xero, Free Agent, and QuickBooks. Now, these costs can obviously range from between £10 and probably even £30 a month, which is why I wouldn't recommend them if you are someone who will only do your bookkeeping once a year, because you would just be paying every month for something you're not using, and then you would have obviously a large amount of bookkeeping to do at the year end. A kind of a final thing is, if you're also looking at changing your bank account at the same time, NatWest and Free Agent have kind of teamed up. So if you get a NatWest business bank account, or you use the NatWest Challenger sort of branch, which is called Metal, you will get a free Free Agent account with that. So that can be a really cost-effective way of getting a very good piece of software for free. So that feels like a little bit of a rambled answer, but that's the main thing. In terms of what bookkeeping you need to do, HMRC will only require the sort of basic information once a year. Anything you want to do above that is for you. So just kind of be honest with yourself. Are you doing it for tax? And then what level of monitoring of your software would you want to do? Now, to finish this episode, I would like to touch upon making tax digital. Now, you may have heard this if you've been following accountants over social media. And this is where HMRC are going to expect people who are self-employed to submit quarterly tax returns. So it's going to move your bookkeeping away from an annual thing to a quarterly. Now, the details on this are still a little bit vague. It's still in its testing period. So when everything's been more formalized, I will do a full episode on this. But all I can say is Making Tax Digital came in for VAT a couple of years ago, and there was a big push to get everyone on accounting software. But some software companies did create something called a bridging software. And that means if you do your bookkeeping on Excel, this bridging software will link your Excel spreadsheet to HMRC. So there's no requirement to go on the higher level, monthly subscription softwares. There will be, I'm almost certain of it, a way around and for you to continue to use Excel if that is your preferred bookkeeping method. But it will mean that you're going to have to do your bookkeeping a little bit more often if you are someone who only does it for tax. So I hope that answers your question. In next week's episode, I'm going to be delving into what records you need to keep that sit alongside your bookkeeping. So I hope that helps, and I will see you next week.